I'll say that again for the people in the back that didn't hear me. Men, predatory men, predators, they prey on women who do not have men in their lives. So if you go to a sit down with a brother and you make it seem like it's just you against the world, me, I'm a single mother, my kids, he's sitting there like, oh, really? Just you and your kids? Where's your father? Oh, I don't talk to my father, blah, blah, blah. I have brothers, but, they're not in the picture. They're disbelievers. They're kafirs. There's, you write them off because, they don't share your faith. He's sitting there like, oh, okay. So there's no men involved in your life. Okay, good. So I don't have anything to feel threatened by. I don't have anything to worry about. Because I can further isolate you from anybody that actually gives a damn about you, anybody who actually cares about you. I can further isolate you from them, and then that's when I begin the manipulation, that's when I begin, the mind games, that's when I begin, and then I begin to, enforce my will upon you. First it starts emotionally, then it's psychological, and then it becomes physical. Absolutely. So don't ever go to a sit down making it seem like you don't have any men in your family. Men only respect like energy. You understand? When a man knows that a woman has an active father in her life who is just as crazy about his daughter as that man is about his own daughter. I'm giving you my daughter. You understand? But you need to understand something. You need to understand the consequences that come with me giving you my daughter. You need to understand the responsibility, the subsequent accountability, and the consequences. You take my daughter at your own risk. You understand? You take my daughter at your own risk. You can marry her. But that comes with consequence. That comes with a responsibility, that comes with accountability, and that comes with sure enough consequences. Absolutely. When a man does that, when a man, and he might say, well, you think I'm scared of your father? I ain't afraid of your father. He'll say that to the daughter. He'll say that to his wife. I get it. You gotta, the ego is at play. You gotta maintain, you got it. But in the back of his mind, he knows that, if that situation ever gets physical, you have a man to deal with, or you have men to deal with if she has brothers. Men respect that, man. They don't necessarily have to fear it. They respect it though. But you go in there like, it's just me and my child, me and my son. I'm a single mother against the whole world and I don't need nobody and I just got everything figured out. You act like a sheep, you attract wolves. That's the bottom line. You act like a sheep, you attract wolves. That's the bottom line. Always, even if your relationship with your father is not the greatest, even if your relationship with your brothers is not the greatest, relationship with your uncles, don't go into a sit down with a man making him believe that there's no men involved in your life. And even if those men are non-Muslims, make them involved in your life. Make them a part of that. Because the times that we are living in right now, people don't have that type of restraint. People don't, including Muslims, don't exercise that type of restraint. And they only, as the scholars say, in Saudi Arabia, they did the hudud, sometimes the capital punishment in public. They do it right by the Prophet's masjid. They do it in public. So if a person is to be executed, they bring him out, there's a bag over his head, and they bring a doctor or some professional to come out, and he has a sword, and he taps the jugular vein with the sword. The guy falls over, and, they clean it up really quickly, and it's over. And some scholars say that is done in public like that for people who need to see physically. There's some people who don't necessarily require that. I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to kill. Not because I fear consequences of that magnitude, But because I fear God, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't need that. But then there are some people who actually do need that. They need to see that. They need to see the consequences of their actions because that's a deterrent. Some people need that. And in this day and time, even doing public executions is not a deterrent. People just don't have that type of restraint anymore. The consciousness of God is slipping through the hearts and the minds and the fingers of, the people here on earth. People don't function with that level of restraint anymore. So to kind of rely on the fact that, my Muslim community or the Imam or, some foreign individual who don't know you from a can of spray paint, to rely on them to come to your rescue when you are in a crisis like that, it's not probable. It's not plausible. Might not even be realistic. Evidenced by the many sisters who have been told, go home, be patient, inshallah, I'll talk to your husband. And, and the problem still persists. The problem doesn't go anywhere. So you have to take matters into your protection. Your safety has to be within your grip. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, خُذُوا حِذْرَكُمْ. Take your precautions. Take your precautions. That means that every single resource at your beck, every single resource that you have access to in order to preserve and to protect your life and the life of your children, you need to do that. And relying on the Imam in the masjid, relying on, calling this brother or emailing this Imam in hopes that they would run to your rescue, let me know how that worked out for you. No, that's not how that works. You have to get people involved in your life. You go to a sit down, you make it clear, my father's involved, and he might say, well, your father's a non-Muslim. That's okay. My father's a non-Muslim, but he still loves me. He loves me more than any other man on the face of this earth. More than any Imam sitting behind a desk in any masjid. The Imam behind the desk in the masjid, he loves me for the sake of Allah, if he even understands what that means, but he is not going to risk his life. He is not going to put his job on the line. He's not going to risk his own self, right? His personal well-being, to rescue me from a situation. You understand? His loving you for the sake of Allah, it has limitations. The love that my father has for me is unlimited. You understand? There's no limit that my father would not go to because of his love for me. But the Imam, not so much. You understand? So don't let anybody tell you, oh, your father's not a Muslim. He can't represent you. He can't do this. He can't. Man, my father is the only man on the face of this earth that loves me the way that that I should be loved and will protect me at all costs. Don't ever try to box me out. Don't ever try to isolate me from my family. Because that's how it starts, the isolation. Understand how domestic violence works. So this whole, I'm single woman, me against the world, I got it all figured out. That's not the way you want to represent yourself. All right?